Amy Quinn, we are really thankful for the opportunity to have her with us. Amy is an independent travel consultant. She focuses on wellness. She works with organizations, companies, and individuals. And today, we already got to hear from Amy on mindfulness, awareness, and empathy. And I assume, and I'm hopeful that she's going to tie that into the world of travel as well, where she has experience in corporate hospitality, worked for American Airlines, has worked with companies like Nestle and other organizations in development, but then, as I said again, with individuals as well. So without further ado, I give you Amy Quinn.
Thank you. It's just great to be here today. Thank you so much for being here. So I think the first thing is, I would love for you to get to know, just talk with one another a little bit at your table. And then I'll go through, introduce myself, and tell you a little bit more about what we have in store for the next 50 minutes. So what I'd love you to talk about for a few minutes is, what are some of your most favorite destinations? Or what are you dreaming about? Where would you love to be going? And also they can be in Denver as well. And just make sure we pay attention to how much you're speaking and how much you're listening. And just see what comes up. It doesn't, we're not trying to impress here. We're just trying to share the wealth of information that's in this room. So introduce yourself if you don't know who's at your table, and focus on sharing kind of what you dream about, or destinations you've been, or memorable experiences from the past. So go ahead. Go ahead and begin. I would love for a little popcorn style. Shout out some of the destinations that you've loved. South Africa. Italy. Ireland. China. Iran. Antarctica. Egypt. Germany. Woo! Glasgow, Greece. Israel. See, I told you there is just, there's a wealth of information right here, and I hope that we get to share a lot of that today. So sometimes when we travel, we actually don't fully arrive. It can take us a little while to disconnect, right? We have busy lives, and we arrive somewhere and we're actually not there. And that's a little bit how I feel right now. For myself personally, it's been going. And so if you will, I would love us just to take a minute to arrive and just to settle in for a second in being right here, right now, as if you've just arrived to this destination. So if you would, you can keep your eyes open, looking down. So just play along with me. Or you can close your eyes and just take a few breaths and let go of the wonderful workshops you've had already, what it took to get here, your week, and bring your attention to your breath. And just take a few breaths. And consider what it is that you're hoping for by coming to this workshop today, by considering that the world is within reach. Thank you so much. So we've landed. Thank you. At least I have. So welcome. My name is Amy Quinn, and my company is called A Traveling Time, a well-being consultancy. And really, truly, I am about your well-being, the well-being of our communities, of the world even. And I create well-being through travel. And then, you know what, we're not always right on the road. We're not always actually able to travel. And we're here, and I conduct Search Inside Yourself workshops for cultivating emotional intelligence for right here, right now. I'd also like to proffer up that we live as travelers every day, right? We can be curious. We can do something a little outside of our comfort zone. We can be open to others. We can take a risk, right? So whether you're traveling in the near future or you're traveling right here, right now, every day we can live as travelers. So as you see, we're going to go through some different exercises, and I'm going to bring the mindfulness in. So thank you so much for being game. And we're going to explore, where do you want to go? What does it look like, etc. So, and I hope you'll leave with some ideas and some steps to take. That sound good? Great. Okay. So we're going to do a little travel visualization. It won't be more than 3, maybe 4 minutes at most. So play along with me. This actually is a picture of the Grand Tetons. This is my place, actually. This is where I like to go as much as I can. So one more time, we're going to do a little travel visualization. So if you would, just find a comfortable seat. And you can close your eyes, or you can keep them open looking down. And gently bring your attention to your breath at whatever pace you're breathing is absolutely fine. Just gently in and out. So I invite you to think back to a time when you traveled and you landed somewhere new. Or maybe it was a place that you'd been before. Or if you haven't been to these places, consider a place you'd like to go. What did you feel when you arrived? The plane has touched down, or you've stepped up off the train. What do you notice about the destination? What do you see? How does your body feel? What emotions are present? Remember the feeling of arriving in this place. The time away goes quickly. You're completely engaged. How do you spend your time? Who are you with? How do you spend your time with them? What is it that you're doing that's creating well-being as you're away at this destination? Perhaps it's hiking, perhaps it's just the playtime and touring, or maybe it's when you were resting by the pool or in a beautiful room even with a view. Maybe it's around the table What is it about this trip that supports your well-being? It's time now to return home and bring our attention back to the room. So just take a couple seconds and breathe back into being here right now. Thank you so much for your attention. So I'd love you to take this same attention that you've just brought to imagining where you've been or where you want to go into your conversation. And so I want you to go around. Each person has a couple minutes or so. I have to keep this moving. And I want you to just share these questions. Why do you travel? What is it that you really value? And remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. We all have our reasons for traveling, and they're all wonderful. And also, I'd love you to share, what is it that you really want when you travel? Like, what really matters to you? What are your must-haves? So make sure everyone gets to speak. We'll have about 2 minutes each or so, just lightly, right? And just be generous in your listening and really listen and then rotate on. Does that sound okay? And bring that wonderful attention to the conversation. So the person who got up the earliest can go first. Okay? Okay, go ahead and begin and have fun. So what have you learned? What were some of the reasons that people travel, if you're willing to share?
Well, this gentleman just opened my eyes. He said there's two ways to look at it. It's either a vacation or an experience.
There you go. Yeah.
I've been looking at it as a vacation, and I think you give me some ideas.
Yeah, it's right. We're not all the same. We have different ways of looking at our time away. Any other kind of, Yes.
No responsibilities. You can be there right in the moment, and you don't have to get this done or this done. You're just there together.
Yeah. Yeah, I travel just to be free. Mm-hmm. No responsibilities. Yep. Another reason. Anything else?
To appreciate what you have.
Appreciate what you have when you're away. Yeah. So true.
Appreciate where you live.
Appreciate where you're from. Yeah. I have my son is studying in London this year, and I'm not happy about this, but I know he's a little homesick. I think even though I know he's going to like London, he just arrived, and I think it's oh, what about home? So I think that's really true. Thank you so much for those comments. So,
Also,
go.
independent travel versus traveling with a tour, which
Yeah.
has a lot of different pros and cons, I
Yep.
guess.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those type of things now. But you're right. They're escorted tours, and where everything is taken care of, getting you from point A to point B. And there's individual tours, and things can also be every single thing can be taken care of. But you're not. Maybe you're just sharing with your own group, or you're on your own. You go with a small group, a large group. So let's look at that, actually. Let's explore some of the options. Please.
I just wanted to ask, if you're traveling with somebody that has trouble walking, because I've been researching and everything, it's very hard to find a tour
That's accessible.
that's accessible to them and you, and that they can take part in, and that's
Yeah.
not a problem for me.
Yeah. Well, we can talk more about that afterwards, but I do think there are going to be companies, and it is something you need to consider. And nowadays, a lot of tour companies, they provide different levels, right? Different levels of activities, different levels of when do you start your day? You know, some have a relaxed start, some are packing the day. And so these things can be accommodated as well. So, but I hope you've identified for yourself a little bit about why you travel and what, you know, and now what I'd like to explore is, you know, how can it look, right? And I want to back up a little bit to say what brought me here was meeting Alicia Firestone. She's in the back of the room. And we share a book that we both love. It's called The Soul of Money. It's by Lynn Twist. And Lynn Twist says, you know, no matter the amount of your resources, it's really about one, viewing life from abundance, and then being clear on what matters to you. So you do what matters to you with your resources, right? Well, I feel the same way about travel. Really, you know, it's knowing what you want to do and bringing intention to it kind of changes the game, right? So we're going to go through some ideas about what this might look like. And you might consider this the bucket list idea, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I'd like to say is your life is right here, right now. And I wouldn't wait for a magical time. Now, maybe you have to, like, yeah, we got a plan. And we need to put this money aside, and we can't just do it tomorrow. But start talking about it, writing about it, verbalizing, and setting that attention. And that actually, in my mind, it will help it happen sooner. There's no magical time, right? Now is the time. So perhaps it's visiting the UNESCO, all the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. People love to do that. Or maybe it's visiting the unique lodges of the world. These are the National Geographic lodges. That's in Morocco near the Atlas Mountains, this Peruvian rainforest, Patagonia, the Northern Lights. It's about alignment, and so maybe it's celebrating a 10th anniversary and going to Tahiti or Bali or the Maldives. Or maybe it's a multi-generational trip, because what matters to you is you want to share that experience with your grandchildren or maybe with your children. And, you know, it's about this alignment. What matters to you? What do you want to experience? Maybe it's active. You've trekked all the 14ers in Colorado, but you haven't gone to Nepal. Or maybe it's something you'll just never forget. You're going to ride a camel in the Gobi Desert. My father and my sister did this, and they were on a bunch of camels. And my father kept joking with my sister that he was going to sell her for so many camels. Maybe it's hiking the Trail Mont Blanc or biking in the Pyrenees. That's my husband and I. And we went with a small group on both of those. And we didn't know anyone, but it, you know, travelers are like-minded if you've chosen correctly for yourself. Or maybe it's this Mini Cooper in Edinburgh that you just want these really unique experiences once you're there. Or you want to go onsen hopping. That's hot spring in Japan. And in this particular area, there's hundreds of hot springs. What's good for your well-being, right? What soothes your soul? Maybe it's, believe it or not, sailing with your buddies in Thailand. Or going on a small ship to Alaska. And there's some wonderful small ships. There's also this other company that's all about active. And the ship isn't this fancy, but they always get off the ship and they can go in and out. That's what makes someone well. Or you watch Outlander and you want to go to the Highlands and you want to go where all the television series was taped. Or you're a photographer. It's about a hobby. I just had someone ask me about bridge cruises. They love bridge and they want to go on a cruise and play bridge from place to place with a teacher. Or they're a photographer. They want to go and you want to go with a group. You want to go with an affinity group because you share a passion. That makes you feel well. Or maybe it's just going with a bunch of girls, sorry men, to Paris. Or you're passionate about wine and food. You're going to go to Tuscany. Or maybe you're going to go to Burgundy. Maybe you love everything French and you're just going to do constantly go to the south of France. Maybe you're also going to go on a historic trip to Normandy because you're a history buff and you've never been there. So it's being with your people and doing those things that really matter to you and that you're passionate about. Mother, daughter, father, son, I should exclude, right? Father, son. And for many of us, it's about a mission. It's about going and just contributing how you can. And that's what matters. So I'm putting in a little plug for Club Med. I don't do a lot of all-inclusives, but the ones I do are typically with Club Med. They're the original, and they have a new property because they've given us something that I'm going to share later, so I wanted to bring them up. But also, if you're looking for a group, you want lots of activities, good food, Club Med has the best locations. They're all over the world, and they have a new location in Dominican Republic, so that's my one plug. I have one more after that, but the other I want to really, really, really stress is that the United States, Colorado, Denver. When we do this next exercise, I really want you to also consider, what haven't you done that's right in front of you? And that can include going to the Mayan movie theater if you've never been there, for example, right? But there's so much wonderful things right in our country. And I wanted to point out the Caymans. They've given us the luggage tags, but if you're looking for a warm destination, so that's my only second plug. But they have nonstop flights there, and they're charming, and they're very accessible now with the nonstop flights directly from Denver. So we're going to do a little, just look at my time, we're good. We're going to do a little individual exercise. And I'm going to have you write a few things down. And the reason this is important is that, our dreams can be out there, but when you start writing it down, it becomes a little more real, right? And then we're going to share some of those ideas. Because once you start sharing it, it also becomes more real. But then people have ideas for you, and you kind of start the universe in motion. Right? And I mean, there's so many resources right in this room. I bet there's someone who could probably design your next trip here because they've traveled and they have some knowledge. And the other is, when you write these things down, stay flexible. Perhaps you thought, no, I have to go solo. I've got to go on my own. And then as you start researching it, you find there's an amazing small group to go with. And maybe that's how it's going to end up looking. And that's fine. So put it down, but stay flexible. So there's a matrix, and from my perspective, this is the gift of this workshop, that you're taking a moment here, a few minutes, to give yourself this time to reflect on what you care about. And I also believe you already know you're the best teacher. So if you would take out a pencil, and on your tables is a matrix. It looks like this. Everyone have theirs? There you go. Okay. And then there's another sheet, and I distributed some brochures if you feel like looking at them. But on this sheet as well are just a whole bunch of other ideas to choose from. So does everyone have the matrix and a pencil? You don't have this sheet. Here we go. You have it? You need something to write with? Okay. More pens? Do you need the sheet or the pen? The sheet, okay. You know what? It's, okay, here. Sarah, these guys need that. Thank you. So what I'd like you to do, the sheets are coming around, is don't be overwhelmed by 30 boxes on the grid. So take that grid, that's this one. Everyone have that? And just, even if you fill in one box, go ahead. Go for 3 if you can. Of where do you want to go next? What are you dreaming about? What would that look like? And just put that down. Don't get overwhelmed. But even if you just do 1, that's fine. But go for 3. And then I do want you to write down a next step. What are you going to do now next week? When might that be? What step can you take now? Maybe it's just calling your friend and seeing if they want to come with you. Or maybe it's, of course, calling a travel advisor. Or maybe it's just doing more research, reading about that destination. What will be the step that will take you towards that destination? Are there any questions? Okay. So enjoy some, yes.
You're asking for specific places or
Yeah.
ingredients?
No, a specific place. Put a destination down. A specific destination. Any other questions? Just have fun.
Maybe give some examples.
Yeah, well, it could be going on safari. Could be going to Ireland because you want to experience the pubs. Could be going to New York City and seeing the Rockettes. Could be going to Las Vegas, actually. Could be going to Arizona, to Tucson. So. Because lunch is calling, I want to make sure that you get to share with one another. Does everyone have like one idea written down? One? So what I'd like you to do now is let each person speak and share what you're thinking about and what's one step that, what it might look like. You can share some of those details of what you're hoping for when you go to this place, what it might look like, and what's one step that you can take. And just listen nicely and be supportive of each other as you go around, because you might find that, and we're going to have one group share in case there's someone that has been somewhere and the other person wants to go. But go ahead and share with one another now where you want to go and what it might look like. So I'd love your attention now, and you guys should come keep talking afterwards on your way to lunch. Sit together because I'd love you to keep sharing. Would someone be willing to share where they want to go and what step they're going to take next? Anyone?
Viking cruise.
Viking cruise, great. And where to?
Grand European.
Grand European, good, super. Something you've done before? Okay, see, so you guys shared. Any? Love that. I'd like to come along. Anyone else? Where else does someone want to go? Machu Picchu. Good. Wow, that's far away. That's great. Wonderful. What'd you say? Yeah, they're both. Yeah, they have bikes on the cruises. They have bikes on the cruises. But there are some companies that do both. Well, whatever it is, I hope that you'll continue to share with others, write it down, verbalize it, and be mindful and bring intention to what you want to do next, because now's the time, right? So check out the Cayman Islands. Please feel free to take the luggage tags. And on a chair, I have a luggage tag. If you would look underneath your chair. And whoever has that luggage tag, Club Med gave me a 3-night land-only package to a U.S. destination. It's actually right here. It's right here. Here it is. That's the luggage tag. So you come and I'll give you the certificate afterwards. So just thought that was fun. Now, a couple other things, just real quickly. Bring that sheet that you have, those resources. If you'd like a digital version, I know Prosperion would send you out a digital version, but put your name, that way you can click on these resources if you'd like to have more information on any of these. And there's a bunch of articles as well, but I can't collect your name. You have to just sign up for that so that Prosperion will send you that information if you'd like it. And if you want my e-news, you can check that off. But the other is there's some special offers as well if you book by a certain time on that sheet. And pin that grid somewhere where you can see it. Make it part of your life because your life is right now. And so thank you so much. Yeah.